All right, what's up, BookTube family? Sandy back here with another video, and I am doing my weekly wrap-up video. It was a very productive week for me. From a reading standpoint, I was able to finish 3 books in this past week, and I'm started on another book, and I also made a little bit of a discovery in terms of audiobooks that I'll talk about next. Okay, first I'm going to talk about the 3 books that I finished, and I'm going to do them in the order that I finished them, just so we can keep everything straight and I don't get confused, because you can see by the gray hair getting a little bit older, and I got to make sure I keep everything straight here, keep everything on the up and up. So with that, I'm going to talk about the first book that I read, Too Good to Be True by Carola Lovering, and I really was looking forward to this book because I got this through Book of the Month, and it came in. When I saw it on Book of the Month, I was really excited about it because it sounded really good. It's got kind of a love triangle thing going here. I'll just read the first paragraph of the description and you'll kind of get a feel for it. Sky Starling is overjoyed when her boyfriend, Burke Michaels, proposes after a whirlwind courtship. Though Sky seems to have the world at her fingertips, she's smart, beautiful, and from a well-off family. She's also battled crippling OCD ever since her mother's death when she was 11, and her romantic relationships have suffered as a result. I'll read the second paragraph too. But now Burke, handsome, older, and more emotionally mature than any man she's ever met before, says he wants her. Forever. Except Burke isn't who he claims to be, and interspersed letters to his therapist reveal the truth. He's happily married and using Sky for his own deceptive ends. So there's a lot going on in this story to unwrap, and you get multiple perspectives of the story that make it kind of interesting and to help the pace stay pretty good and strong. And I was able to appreciate that significantly with this particular book. So I really enjoyed it. It was a good pace. Some of the letters that are in here that they talked about to the therapist were really helpful in terms of keeping the pace going and kind of changing things up a little bit. You got multiple timelines as well that really helped this one tell a pretty compelling story. So I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. It was good. At times there were a lot of twists. Some of the twists were kind of predictable. The ending was perhaps a little bit predictable, but at the same time I enjoyed it. It was a good read. I'm glad I read it. I actually read it pretty fast, and I'm a notoriously slow reader, but this is one that I read really fast, and I'm definitely glad I picked up Too Good to Be True. Next up, I had a whirlwind relationship with Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam. And this one was truly a whirlwind. I talked about whirlwind in the other book that I just finished. This one went really fast, and I really enjoyed this one because you get kind of the closed circle trope thing going here with this one. Amanda and Clay head out to a remote corner of Long Island expecting a vacation, a quiet reprieve from life in New York City. Quality time with their teenage son and daughter, and a taste of the good life in the luxurious home they've rented for the week. But with a late night knock on the door, the spell is broken. Ruth and GH, an older couple who claim to own the home, have arrived there in a panic. These strangers say that a sudden blackout has swept New York, and with nowhere else to turn, they've come to the country in search of shelter. So it leads to this kind of tense, unexpected relationship that they've drawn themselves into, and where it's uncomfortable, and you have the homeowners coming home, and you have the people who are renting, and then there's this unexpected blending of these two groups, and it becomes tense, it becomes uneasy, and you can definitely feel the tension throughout the story, and I really appreciated that. I also like closed circle tropes. That just is one that I just really like. Especially if it's kind of like a mystery thing and you're trying to really figure out what's going on here. But I really did enjoy this. This was a good read. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I read it a little bit, and this is what I was going to get into about audiobooks. I decided to get a subscription to Scribd, and I got the subscription to Scribd, and I saw this one was in there, and I knew I had the hardcover book too. So I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and get going with it in the audiobook. So I was listening to the audiobook while I was in bed and I was doing other things. I was multitasking and I was really enjoying the audiobook. And so I just kind of kept flowing with it. It was really good. I got to the end of it and it read really fast. I think I listened to it at 1.8 speed or maybe 2.0 speed, whatever it was. I listened to it at a really fast speed and I got a lot of what was going on. Then I picked up the book the next morning and I reread some parts and totally got a feel for what was going on here. Really enjoyed this one. Very interesting read. Might not be for everybody, but it was interesting and good for me. Lastly, I finished The Pink Pony, Murder on Mackinac Island. Yes, I finally finished it. It was really a fun story to read because, again, it's set in Michigan, set in a lot of places that I know with the traveling that was taking place throughout the book. And, you know, I really enjoyed that part and the familiarity with a lot of places that the author referenced during the course of the book. As well as some events that take place in the book that are really significant. It was an interesting story. It was more courtroom than I typically like. I'm not a big courtroom story person, but that didn't really knock me off too much from the book. It was a very interesting book, and I think this author may have some more books set in Michigan that could be interesting to me. So I'm looking at more books by this author possibly in the near future. But The Pink Pony, Murder on Mackinac Island was definitely a good one. I enjoyed it. And I would definitely, especially if you have a Michigan connection, I think you'll probably enjoy this. And if you've been on Mackinac Island before, and if you've been to the Pink Pony, I think you'll definitely want to check this one out. Okay, so now to the books that I am currently reading at the time of filming this particular video. And the books that I'm currently reading, I'm still working on The Shining by Stephen King. I took a little bit of a break from this. I had it in another room and I left it behind and I started picking up some other books and reading them. But I need to get back to The Shining because I definitely want to finish this one. And then I'm also reading, finally, Truly Devious. I finally picked it up. Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I finally picked it up. I saw it on Scribd and I started listening to it on Scribd, and I really, really, really am excited about this book. I was a little bit unsure if I wanted to jump into it, but I'm a sucker for stories set at boarding schools, stories set on campuses, academic college campuses or high school campuses or whatever. So I'm kind of a sucker for that anyway. This one has got kind of some historical stuff going on with dual timelines. So I'm really enjoying this one, much better than I even thought it was going to be. So definitely excited about finally getting started with Truly Devious. I've got the first 3 books, and I believe the 4th book is coming out at some point later this year. So I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that. If Truly Devious continues to be truly good, then I will truly continue reading the series. Next up, I'm going to talk about what could be next. And what could be next could be the next book in the Truly Devious series, and that is The Vanishing Star. And it says at the top, nothing stays buried forever. So this one might not stay buried forever. It's been buried for a long time in back of me in the red stack there behind me, but I finally pulled this one out, and of course it was near the bottom of the stack, so I had to do some magic to be able to pull this book out. It was second to last near the bottom, but I was able to pull it out without causing a complete total avalanche. So that in and of itself is almost worthy of applause, but you can hold the applause. It just was me doing what I needed to do. Next up are a couple of books that I've been talking about here on the channel before, and Goodnight Beautiful by Amy Malloy and The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett are a couple books that I've been talking about and I'm very interested in. This one is kind of a voyeuristic thing going on. Also a mystery that's involved with this one that I thought was pretty interesting. This one has to do with issues related to race. 2 sisters, one posing, I shouldn't say posing, one kind of remaining with her black heritage and culture, and the other passing for white is kind of interesting to me. So I'm a sucker for sibling stories. I just think sibling stories are really cool. So I'm definitely interested in The Vanishing Half. This was the 2020 Book of the Month, Book of the Year. And so I finally decided to pick it up and looking forward to jumping into this one. But I'm also excited about Goodnight Beautiful. So we shall see what happens. But Goodnight Beautiful and The Vanishing Half are 2 books that I'm really looking forward to jumping into. Again, I'm excited about the kind of voyeuristic nature of this one that I just think is going to be really good. And then, of course, The Vanishing Half just sounds really, really good, just with everything that I've heard about it. I've heard plenty of good reviews about it, so I'm definitely excited about exploring these two gems. So there you have it, my weekly reading wrap up. It was a very productive reading month. I was really excited about what I was able to get to. And I also gave you a little bit of an idea of where I might be headed in the future with some of the books that I am currently reading and that I have potentially on tap for the coming week. So stick with me on this BookTube journey. I'm having a lot of fun with my reading. I'm out of my reading slump. I think Scribd has helped with that to get some more audiobooks, access to some really quality audiobooks for a very reasonable price. I'm sure I'll be taking advantage of that. I'm excited to have jumped into Truly Devious finally. I think it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to finishing that and at least seeing it through to the end of the first book, and then we'll see what happens with the subsequent books in the series. So definitely looking forward to that. I hope your reading is going well. Stay with me here on this BookTube journey. Hit the like button for the video if you would, and if you are so inclined and you like BookTube, you like AuthorTube, so please consider hitting the subscribe button if you're liking the content of this video. If you're interested in BookTube or AuthorTube content, consider hitting the subscribe button below, and stick with me as we continue the journey through BookTube and AuthorTube content.